Hi, so welcome back to our channel. If you're new, hello, I'm Autumn Brown, and this is my husband, James Brown. We do other stuff, but today I found out that Star Trek 4 is coming out, and I'm pretty excited. So in honor of that, we rewatched the pilot episode. Opening scene. They're flying through space. Obviously, they did the, the
theremin.
Yeah. So they're flying through space. The crew, the Star Trek crew, hears a radio wave.
As you do.
As you do. Of a crashed ship, the SS Columbian. And is it the Columbian? Yeah, it's the Columbian. And is in trouble on a Class M planet.
Class M. Oxygen atmosphere.
Okay, so Spock's like, we should go check that out. And the captain's like, nah. There's no point. Which is kind of funny. But so he takes off and has a bit of a lie down in the other room. And and I should say, we're talking about Captain Pike, right?
That's right,
so
Captain Pike, not
runs
Kirk.
in.
Should we talk about the weird, like it's a pilot before the pilot?
Yeah, well, it's the original pilot before they
people know that?
it. I think it's
people know
common
that
knowledge.
it exists
I think
and stuff?
anyone who hangs out with me,
like the casuals,
has to be, well, maybe not, but like the kids might not. Like,
the initial attempt didn't fly.
No,
and they had to bring in Kirk.
Yeah, bring in Kirk to save it. Go Kirk. And he did. Now, Captain Pike has his big, beautiful eyes, and they're super blue because they digitally mastered it. And
every time he's on screen, I'm swimming. I'm swimming in this man's big blue eyes.
An incredible jawline. He does have an incredible jawline, right?
He's flawless.
Well, not as good looking as Captain Kirk. I will say that. All right, so he has a little bit of a lie down, and the doctor comes in and obviously makes him a martini.
Now, not McCoy.
No, not McCoy. Some old man doctor comes in and makes him a martini.
Just makes him a martini.
Real quick.
Yeah.
Like just a
Thought he
1-2
could
shake.
use it.
Yeah.
Get this man a martini.
So they have a chat about failures and the things that they didn't do right, and I guess so. It leads up to this, like, they had something happen 2 weeks ago that was bad, but we don't know what it is because, again, this is a pilot episode and none of us know the story.
Because drama.
Because drama.
They did dive right in.
They did.
They just put you right into like
you're on the ground running.
No explanation of how the hell we got into space or how we reached.
No.
What year it is.
While they're having this conversation, Captain Pike brings up the fact that he used to have horses on Earth, and then he's like, "Oh, maybe I'm gonna quit." And he's gonna quit being a captain. Day one, like he's gonna quit being a captain.
Drama.
On the show. And then he wants to be an Orion trader, maybe.
Okay.
But then the doctor's like, nah, you don't want to do that. Like, but because we know, and if you don't know what the Orion traders are, like they're the space traders, and they have the Orion green slave girls, and they dance around, and okay.
We all remember her.
All of them. They're everywhere.
The green girl, though.
The green girls. Yes, we'll get there. We'll get there. So then the captain gets like a Zoom call from Spock, who, while Captain was having his little lie down, kept looking at the planet to see if there was survivors.
Spock's that kind of guy.
Yeah, he's just like, okay, you go have your martini. I'm gonna do your job, I guess.
Yeah, I'm just gonna check and make sure.
Yeah, because that's the right thing to do. Jump to the bridge. The captain's like, okay, we're gonna go and try to save these people that I wasn't interested in before.
He's had a martini and now he's
now
gung-ho.
He's loosey-goosey, and he's like,
You know what? Head it down there.
Time Warp 7.
Time Warp 7.
I'm so glad that they went to warp speed. Because time warp just makes me think...
It's just a jump to the left.
Warp speed 7. And they do this amazing camera thing where the stars and them do this back and forth. And so I guess like it's before... It's like almost going into a cutaway, but never going into the cutaway.
Okay.
And so then they're back, and you're back on the bridge with them. And then this girl walks over, and Captain Pike decides that he's just going to yell at her.
I thought I told you that when I'm on the bridge, I sign.
But you wanted the reports by 0500. It's 0500 now, sir.
And then he's like, I'm not used to women being on the bridge. Except his number 1 officer is a woman, and he just looks at her and he's like, oh, but not you, you're different. And I don't understand why that happened. So
that didn't make any sense. He was really upset with that
little girl.
Yeah,
like,
she was
call her
young.
Little girl. She's like, I don't even know how old she is. I should look that up and find out and put it in somewhere.
Whatever.
But
she was young.
She was a young,
and he's
beautiful.
just like, what are you doing in my face?
Yeah,
and she's
like, I told you to do this by this time. And she's like,
I brought the papers that you wanted. You wanted this.
Now.
You wanted this.
Anyway. They decide they're going to teleport to the planet to go and check out the survivors. And so they land. Well, not land. They teleport.
Transport.
They transport to the planet. But they leave the women to run the ship, which is so... Hey, what are you doing on the bridge? And like, okay, we're gonna leave the women on the bridge to do all the... Anyway, let's just move past the misogyny.
Well, the captain doesn't make any sense.
No, he's all of... Well, he's probably drunk from that martini the
That's
doctor
true.
made him.
Who are you?
Women!
You get off my bridge.
So when they appear on the planet, they're wearing really fancy jackets, which I love.
Super posh.
Spock is limping for no reason. I don't understand why Spock's limping.
You know, the transporter, maybe it's jarring. Maybe he went over on his knee. Non-contact injury.
So they're walking through like a rocky background, and then they come across these, I want to say plants, but they're blue leaves on sticks.
Okay.
That hum, vibrate, and everyone is really amused by them. Like Spock's smiling, and Captain's like, ah, and
everybody loves it.
Yeah, the blue vibrating leaves. They're just in.
It's Nernroot.
It is. It has to be. So we're gonna keep going. So they walk into the settlement past just like the one set of rocks. So they like beam down, blue leaves, settlement, and it's just a bunch of old men in really, really ratty clothing. And this one hot girl. Now, she's got big blue eyes too, so obviously she's perfect for Captain Pike.
Maybe they're related.
But then we like cut away to these big-headed aliens that are watching them on a space TV.
Their heads were so big.
Yeah, and it's
pulsating.
Pulsating. That's the word that I wanted.
Nasty looking.
Yeah. So the hot blue-eyed girl calls the captain a healthy, intelligent prime specimen. And the old dudes are like, oh no, like, sorry that how she talks. She grew up with scientists. Her parents died.
I mean, she's not wrong. So
then the girl's like, oh, we should tell Captain Pike about the secret. And so Captain Pike just runs off with this blue-eyed blonde girl towards some rocks.
Oh.
And he's like, come on. And he's like, yeah, totally, I'll go with you. And so she disappears, and the rocks open up, and the big-headed aliens grab Pike. And disappear into what appears to be a rock elevator. And boop, 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 down they go, I guess. They zapped him first with
yellow dust.
With yellow mist.
You just drop.
they pull him away, go down the rock door elevator thing, and Spock's like,
There is no survivors in encampment number 1. This is all some sort of trap.
they cut immediately away to Captain Pike waking up, because he's super, he got zapped, I guess. I'm gonna give him that. He got zapped by the mist.
Who knows what that yellow mist is? That could be anthrax or something.
Jeez.
Could be anything.
So Captain wakes up, and he's, like, in this, like, I don't know, room, but, like, an underground cave room.
Mm-hmm.
But they have, like, what is that called?
Like a force
Force
field?
field doors. And he figures out that it's like a holding cell, but he can tell that it's like a zoo. And the way he tells is that it's like a zoo or something is because this pig bear man, like this bird dude, and this really tall bird, and he looks like a giant crow, sort of.
Like a menagerie of all these terrible, wretched creatures.
Head wanders over, stares at Pike, and turns out that they have telepathy. And it's very clear because, like, it's pulsating.
You
and
can
the
see
veins.
it. You can see the telepathy.
It appears, Magistrate, that the intelligence of the specimen is shockingly limited.
So they explain to him that the experiments can start, and like, oh no, experiments, and they don't know. So we're gonna skip ahead.
Pike's in trouble.
Pike's in trouble.
Like, you're in a human zoo. That's not a good spot to be.
Well, you don't know.
You think it's good?
I'd love to be a panda. And then you can just rub my belly.
That's true.
and
That
feed
doesn't
me.
sound like the worst.
Back on the ship, Spock, a doctor, a yellow shirt guy, a blue shirt guy, and the two women are like trying to like figure out what's going on, and they like decide they're gonna blast. I think they're gonna blast their way
They're
through
gonna
the
smash.
rock
They're just
door
gonna use
elevator.
brute force.
Yeah, so they have a giant laser, and they're gonna go down there, and they're gonna use that. So you skip back down to Captain Pike, smack talking the big head aliens, and so they actually make him like relive some memory, and it turns out it's the memory from 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
So he just shows up, and he realizes he's in some sort of weird dream. So he shows up on like this dusty planet, and I guess he fights people, but for some reason the girl is there, the big blue-eyed girl. And she's like, oh, you have to fight him because it's how it happened. And he's like, but you were never there. This Neanderthal Mongolian guy with really bad teeth, and he's gonna fight the captain, and then the captain grabs some weapons that are just like laying around because that's what happens.
There were weapons everywhere.
Just wherever. So the captain and the girl end up like fighting up some stairs, and like the Neanderthal guy has the girl, and he's like shaking her, and she's like no, and she's throwing shit at him, and then the captain is throwing shit at him, and then like the Neanderthal's like roar, and then he throws like a dagger that he finds on the ground directly into the Neanderthal Mongolian guy's back. So anyway, the Neanderthal is like turns around and he's like, ah, and then the girl like I guess shoves him or something. I can't remember. Either way, he falls down, and the captain grabs yet another tool, another weapon off the ground, and he like ends up stabbing the Neanderthal Mongolian guy through the stomach and wins, I guess. And then poof, they're back in the cage, but this time the captain's like with the girl. So Pike's standing there and staring off randomly while the girl's like trying to give him like information that seems like pretty important. So he goes like cuts her off a couple times, but she's saying like, I can be anything you want me to, any woman you want me to, any one you want me to be, and he doesn't really care, and he's just like, I don't want that. So anyway, outside, the Starfleet crew is trying to blast their way in the big rock door to get to the rock elevator thing. But they're wearing these awesome goggles. Like, I want them. They're huge orange goggles. And and I don't know why that was super important to me and why it just stays with me.
The goggles, they do nothing.
My eyes, the goggles do nothing.
So jump back in with the Captain Pike and the girl, and she's like, oh, this is how they do it, and like with illusions, and but so the captain's like, you know, staring off and like not paying attention, because like for the rest of the episode they're like trying to figure out, how do these illusion works, where are they dreams, and like she's told him at this point this is how they do it. Big head alien's like upset that the girl is telling Captain Pike this stuff and like uses his telepathy to hurt her, and she's like, no, and disappears. Then the big head guy gives Captain Pike like a fancy drink of protein, and he's like, you're gonna drink this, and Captain Pike's like, well, what if I don't want to? And he's like, well, we'll use our telepathy to hurt you, and he's like, well, no, and then he's like, oh, and so he uses his telepathy, and then like Captain Pike is like, ah, fire, and he doesn't like it.
Just puts him in hell, basically.
Yeah. So Captain Pike drinks a drink because he doesn't want to be on fire, obviously. And then they chit-chat about the human zoo, and he wants him to hook up with blonde hair, blue-eyed girl.
Okay.
Yeah, like Adam and Eve. And so that's their like big plan. Is
like
to
an Adam and Eve scenario.
Yeah, they want them to breed.
Wow.
For their human zoo. Next thing you know, Captain Pike and the girl are on some sort of picnic in like this beautiful background, and like the captain's like, oh shit, there's my horse Tango.
At the picnic.
At the picnic.
Just wanders into the picnic.
She's all pretty, sitting there like sorting the biscuits. I don't know what she's doing. Like
sorting the biscuits.
Sorting biscuits. The captain's not falling for this, but then like he's like talking to himself over the girl, who's just like, oh, this is like how it is, and they can be anything you want, and like I could be your wife, blah blah blah, and that like totally busts this illusion for Captain Pike.
As soon as she said wife,
it was done.
He was like, whoa,
hey now,
hold on a second
wait.
here.
He's starting to figure out and cracking the code that of the imagination, illusion, magic that they're using, but like she's already told him.
Yeah, she's told him a bunch of times,
like,
but he doesn't listen because she's a woman.
Because he has to stare off into the distance. And then for some reason the girl's like, well, I love you, and he's like, well, I'm attracted to you. And like they knew that I would be attracted to you. Anyway, they jump to the next scene where now the girl is the Orion slave girl, and she's like dancing around and she's all sexy. He's also with some of his Starfleet crew, and like one of them's like, oh, they actually like being taken advantage of. And how do you know? Like, how do you know that? Did you ask them?
What a thing to say.
No one's asked this question. The captain, he's like looking around and like kind of looks like he has to poop, and so he's like, and he gets up and he runs to the other room. Like, I thought that they were outside while she was doing her little, I want to say belly dance, but that was a lot of like for a belly dance. So he runs into the room and starts like frantically checking the walls for, I assume, a toilet. I don't know. The girl follows him in, and then immediately we cut to back on the ship where the Star Trek crew is trying to like come up with a new plan because the lasers didn't blast through the door, and so they're gonna try to beam down.
Okay.
And like, but Spock's like, we don't know anything about this planet and the illusions, and so you could like beam into a rock, and
okay.
Which isn't a problem at all because the aliens only like let the girls beam in.
We only want the women.
Just the women.
They were probably concerned that Spock was going to smuggle a couple of people in his eyebrows.
Oh my god, yeah, his eyebrows were outrageous.
Spock's eyebrows are out of control.
They are outrageous, for sure. It was a different time.
Oh, he was an alien.
He was an alien. He had the pointy ears and the big eyebrows. So, anyway, the two girls are there. Two women. Sorry. The women officers. So they're both obviously into Pike because, yeah. So anyway, the aliens then like out their innermost personal feelings about Pike, and obviously the number one is like crazy in love with him, and then I guess I can't remember exactly, but the younger girl who he yelled at in the first scene of the show, she thought he was difficult, but getting to know him better, she's totally into him as well, obviously. Back to the ship, because this is how it's filmed. It's just like bang, bang, thing happened, thing happened, thing happened. Like, but not that fast. So, back to the ship, Spock is like, we're out of here. Like, for the safety of everybody else, we're gonna bounce, and good luck, Captain Pike.
Peace. We're out of here.
But so they try to, engage, and, but nothing's working, and it's all bad.
It was the logical thing to do.
It was. And it was the logical, let's bounce, because everything's terrible here.
It's the captain's done for.
Nice. It's over.
The women and the captain are finished. We'll just move on with our lives. You gotta move on.
Back to Big Head Zoo. Captain Pike wakes up again. He's always just waking up. Like, I think this is like the third or fourth time in this episode. You gotta
stay well rested as captain. You gotta have a martini every so often, and you need to stay rested.
He's gotta keep a buzz in order to get through. He is a functioning addict, I'm assuming, at this point. So he sees one of the big head aliens who was trying to sneak out of their cage, and so Captain Pike grabs hold of him, and he's struggling, and then he gets him to the ground, and he's choking out big head alien, who then turns and transforms into the big bear man pig.
Man bear pig?
Man bear pig. He's choking the alien, and the big head alien now, he's back, and he's like, if you don't let me go, I'm going to destroy your ship with illusion. With illusion, with the magic. So Captain Pike finally has figured out how illusions work, and he's got one of the girls came down with, what do we call him?
A phaser?
A phaser. My brain just stopped there. It's the zap thing.
The zappy zap?
The zap thing. So Captain Pike comes out, and he's like, I bet you that this works, and we're just not, you're using your powers of illusion to just stop us from knowing that it's happening. So he holds the phaser to Big Head Alien's head, and he's like, I guess it does work. And so he zaps the force field, and he's like, I bet you there's a big hole in the wall there. And so there is, and then they just walk out into the elevator, because it's just an elevator right there.
We out.
And so then they go up to the rocks, I guess. They're outside now. They took the elevator out, and then the aliens come out, the big head aliens come out, and he's like, let the women go, and they're gonna strike a deal. You can keep me, and they're like, no deal. No dice. Then number one has rigged the phaser to blow up, obviously, and then they're like, really? I think the big aliens, wow. And this is a quote that I love. This quote is, you have a unique hatred of being captive, even when it's pleasant.
Even when it's pleasant. They were making all these nice illusions and stuff.
Well, what about Tango the horse? You want Tango the horse and her to be your wife?
Yeah. They just wanted him to be in their menagerie and populate, the species with the blue-eyed girl.
Or either of the other two.
Yeah, whoever.
You can have whatever girl you want.
What more could they give him, man?
You guys are willing to yourselves and be, you're willing to do this, so you know what, your species is no good. We were gonna have this whole planet for you, and we are gonna set up the human zoo, but you were gonna populate this planet like Adam and Eve, and then you know what, you guys can get out of here. We don't want you.
Just get the hell out of here.
And at some point, I think that they were like, oh, we would have taught you how to use illusion, but you guys are no good. And then, like, Captain Pike looks sad.
Well, yeah, we could have all learned how to do that. And now this lady who sets the phaser to kill everyone.
Yes.
Does she speak, like, for all of us? Or, because she just went and did that.
I think she had, like, eye contact with Captain Pike and was, I don't know what button it is on the phaser to explode.
Destroy everything.
Yeah.
Destroy everything, including this phaser.
Yes.
What button does that?
I don't know.
She was twisting it?
They shouldn't have that button
It was
on
like
there.
a twist setting she was using?
Then the illusion on the girl, like, starts to disappear, and she kind of gets, like, more haggard and ugly and old. She's like, oh, they tried to fix me after the accident, when the ship crashed. It was a plane. When the ship crashed, and, like, but they'd never had dealt with human anatomy before, so they did a really bad job.
They tried to rebuild her.
But they couldn't.
Like doing a puzzle without the picture.
The captain's like, oh, make her beautiful again. And so they let her be pretty again. And then they, like, imagined her a new captain, well, her own Captain Pike, I guess.
Well, at least they're going to take care of her.
Yeah, and so her and fake Captain Pike run off into the rocks. And, yeah, I guess that's it for the big aliens. And so the girls got transported back, and then Pike gets transported back. So cut to the final scene, back on the ship, on the bridge. Captain Pike's there, and then the girl comes in, and she's gonna give him his paperwork. And he was about to yell at her, and he chose not to because I guess he's grown and learned to accept women.
Because reasons.
On the bridge. I guess because he knows that she thinks he's hot, maybe. He's like, I'm not gonna, because maybe he wants to hit that later.
Maybe he wants to keep that option open.
And then the doctor comes over, and he's like, oh, it was like a human zoo, like Adam and Eve situation. And then the captain's like, all Starfleet doctors are dirty old men. The end.
That's their finished joke. They went out on that joke.
Like,
amazing.
I love that. I love it. I don't even care. It's so funny.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
it is funny.
It's so bad that it's funny. Like, also, they dropped the show immediately after they watched the pilot episode and recast everybody.
Yeah,
and
everybody.
And Spock got to stay.
Except Spock.
Yeah, and then, so yeah. And they did a better job. Like, it's
much better.
It's the same episode.
Yeah.
But just better acted.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so that was our breakdown of Star Trek, the pilot. So I hope you liked it. I hope you had a laugh. And I think we might do other pilots. I don't know. Maybe we do just every episode.
Yeah. Just every episode of Star Trek.
Every episode.
Starting at the beginning.
But yeah, all of them. All the way into Voyager,
I'm in for that too.
Into the new ones.
Leave a comment.
Yeah, leave a comment. Let us know. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope I don't use too much stuff and get strikes. I'm gonna use as much as I possibly can. All right, we love you, and like, subscribe, hit some buttons, and peace. Bye.